Good day to all the CCBA suppliers responding on Ariba email events. I would like to guide you through the process and the typical challenges, as well as how to complete the email response method. So the first point is that you will get an email that is addressed to the sender CCBA. I can also show you on your email. You will get an email that is addressed to sender CCBA. CCBA has invited you to participate in an event, and then the event name will also be mentioned. But sometimes you may find that you don't get the event or the email invitation. How you would respond to that is sometimes the sender CCBA, you will know that the sender is called the name CCBA, may be blacklisted by your company or just blocked as an email sender. If it is blocked, it will typically go to your junk folder. So you will need to go to your junk folder on your email and go and search for the sender called CCBA. If it is maybe blacklisted by your IT department, you must please request that they whitelist the sender CCBA so that it will be allowed into your inbox. If everything else fails, you can also request your CCBA procurement contact to rather send the invitation to your Gmail address, and you can then respond as it arrives on the internet for you. So let me explain to you how the email will be received. Here is the email, as I said, from the sender CCBA. You will also see that there's a clear attachment next to the invitation. Open the email. From the email, you will see that you've got various attachments at the top, and you also got some instructions how to respond. So I'm going to talk you through the process to respond to this Ariba event from CCBA or its subsidiaries. The first attachment is the bidder agreement. I've already opened it up as a Word document. You can open it up, you can read it. So you have to accept the general terms and conditions of the CCBA bidder agreement. Otherwise, your bid will not be evaluated. It will actually be rejected. You will also see later there's a specific area where you need to accept that you agree with this bidder agreement. It's quite a lengthy one, but it talks about non-disclosure agreement, mutually. It also talks about your Coca-Cola supply guiding principles, and also then at the end, the code of business conduct for suppliers to Coca-Cola Beverages Africa. So you can read it. I'm just going to close it now. So it's here for your study, and you can also send it to your legal department if needed. Then, important to note that there is a zip folder with all the relevant documents in that, which is related to this event. When you open it up and you click open, you will see your typical documents associated, like your scope of work. In my example, I want to buy some ink cartridges. So the scope of work you can open up and you can read it. There may be some pictures and you can study that. And there also may be some more documents. So please read all the documents in the zip folder. Then what is important, if you look at the instructions, you will see that to submit your response via email, you need to download the attached Excel file. I refer to that one. You need to enter your responses in the Excel file, and then you need to save the file So let us first do that. So I'm going to open up the Excel file, and as it opens up, you will need to click on Enable Editing at the top. Here are some instructions how to complete it. I just want to point you to the yellow. You have to populate all the yellow cells. And in the green cell, which I will show you in a moment, this is where you need to indicate if you want to bid, and you need to put in a yes or a no. I will point you to that. There's another tab for instructions. Then you go to section 1. Under section 1, let me just make it bigger. You will see that the very first question here is to say, do you acknowledge agreement in full to the bidder agreement? So that's the Word document I've just showed you. You click on it, you click on the tab, and you click yes. Do you agree, consent that we can do credit and bank detail confirmation? You need to say yes. And then, do you agree with the principle of no PO, no pay? And you need to agree yes. So that is basic questions on the first tab, number 1. Then you go to the scope of work. You will actually see that the validation of your bid is specified here. The prices that you submit must be valid for that period of 6 months. And it also says very clearly that the attachments is in the email zip file. So I refer again to the email zip file here, where your scope of work and other related documents are. So let's go back to our Excel spreadsheet. So here's nothing more to read under the scope of work. Then you go to your evaluation question section. This is where other related questions are asked. For example, do you have quality certification, for example? If that's relevant, then you can say a yes or maybe no. Maybe in this case you haven't got. Where do you distribute? And then you've got a list of choices, and you can say, I only distribute in main cities, or maybe countrywide. So let's say countrywide. What is your typical lead time for delivery? This is quite an important one for us. And you can say, I deliver 2 to 3 days from order. So this is important for us that you fill this in. Then please remember the pricing is in section number 4. Now, you need to go on the arrows here, click on the right arrow, and then the last tab in the Excel spreadsheet will be displayed. Click on it. You can make it bigger. And now, very important, I already specified that you need to be aware of, do you intend to respond? And the default is a no. So in this specific case, we've got 2 line items, which the system also call lots. So you need to say, if say, for example, I've got stock of the first one, the black ink with model 445 XL, then you need to type in there yes, because I want to respond on that line item. And then in the yellow areas, I need to fill in all the yellow areas. I can supply this, for example, at a price of 180. And if there is another field in yellow, you have to populate it because it's a mandatory field. So say, for example, my handling for this one is 10 per unit. So remember, your pricing unit of measure is 1. So you need to get the price. What is the cost of 1 unit? These are prices related to the 1 unit. But in total, we want 20 of these. Here you can also add a optional comment, and you can add a comment there if you want to, but it's not a mandatory field because it's not yellow. If you want to submit a price for the next one as well, then you need to make that one also a yes. Put in your price, maybe that one is 240. Maybe there's no handling fee, but because it's a mandatory field, still enter then just a 0. Now you've completed everything, all the required fields for your submission. Now you need to save this Excel file on your laptop, click File, and then you click Save As. And let's save it in an area where you will find it. I usually have a specific folder where I save it, and you can even put in something at the end if you want to, just to make sure that you can recognize it very well. I'm just going to add demo 123 at the end, and I'm going to save this Excel file. Now you can minimize it or you can close the file because you've submitted everything. We've done the pricing. Remember the yes for all the line items you want to bid for. Respond, and you need to populate all the yellow fields. And if you've got nothing to populate, add a 0. And at the last field, supplier optional comments, you can add a comment there. We've done the evaluation question, scope of work, there was nothing, and the initial questions, you also had to respond there. So we did save it. We can now minimize it. So the first thing that it says, download the attached Excel file. We've done that. We've entered the responses in Excel and saved the file. We've done that onto our laptop. Now, click the email response button here at the bottom and open the reply message, attach the updated saved file, and click the send button. Just before I click there, you will see that here's an option to see the event. Now, if you've already dealt with CCBA and you've got an Ariba username and a password, and you prefer not to use this Excel response method, but you actually want to log into Ariba and you want to log in with your username and password and complete all the bids on the Ariba portal online, you may do so by clicking on See Event. If you haven't got a username and password, please rather use the easy way of populating the Excel spreadsheet as I've just showed you, and then you click Email Response. I click now on Email Response. It will open up an email response, and you will note that the to address is a very complicated address because your submission will be uploaded into Ariba, into the portal via that address. There's no need to copy anybody at CCBA because the CCBA person will view the information in Ariba on the portal. But before you hit the send button, you must attach your file which you've just saved. There you can see that is the one that I saved with the demo 123, and there I attach it. And now all I need to do is I can click the send button, and that is what you need to do. But let me talk you through some other practical issues. I've already talked to you about the practical issues to if you can't see the email. Now, sometimes suppliers will submit their responses via email, and then they will get an email notification from CCBA which will say failed to place the bid, and it will also give the event name. Now, what are the typical challenges and reasons? I've listed it here for you. The first one is that it will tell you your company name at the top. An example here is where you have not answered all the questions. For example, on your Excel spreadsheet, you did not populate and answered all the questions in yellow. And evaluation questions, remember, we answered all the questions. Then typically you will get an email that will say you need to provide an answer to question, and it will even specify the question number for you. So what you need to do is you will need to go back to your Excel spreadsheet and you will need to populate all the information, and then you go back to your email and then you will just say email response, and then you upload the updated version of your Excel spreadsheet. Now, this is the typical example. You haven't filled in all the questions. Here's another one. you are not authorized. And in most cases, this is because you have forwarded the invitation email to someone else. Now, say for example, you are Joe at ABC Supplier, and you forwarded the mail at Jill at ABC Supplier. If Jill uploads this from her own email address, which is stating Jill, there will be a breach of security because Jill was never invited. The response on the email must come from the same person who was invited. So if Joe was invited, Joe is the one that need to click email response and upload the response. Because the system is secure, you cannot just forward this to anybody else except the one who's on the email. In the case that you want to notify CCBA to say, I'm not working with this, please will you invite Jill at ABC Supplier, then the CCBA procurement person can send a formal invitation to Jill, and then Jill will be allowed to also submit responses from her email address. Let's go to the next one. You're not authorized. We discussed that one. A typical one is where suppliers forget in the green box to change the no to a yes, as I've explained on the price schedule. Intend to respond, you need to put in a yes. In the event you don't want to bid on a specific line item, then only that line item you will keep as a no. So the typical message you will get is select at least one lot for bidding, because you left it as a no. A typical one also is if you bid too late, because the event is just open for a specific period of time, and on your invitation it will tell you how long it is open. It will, for example, on the email invitation at the bottom, there is the event ends, and it will give you a date and a time. So please note when the event will close. If you're too late, you can always respond to the project owner in CCBA and ask for an extension, and that request will be evaluated. Okay, so now the event is not open for bidding, so ask for the event to be reopened, and then you can submit your bid. The good news is that if you receive, if you submitted successfully, you will also get an email response that will say, successfully placed your bid, and the event name will disappear or will appear from CCBA. And you will also, the heading will say successfully placed your bid. There's also an Excel spreadsheet there. If you would like to maybe improve your bid while the event is still open, you can do so. You can improve it while it's still open. And here also was received successfully. So that is very good news. From the CCBA side, the procurement people will monitor the event. They will be able to see who are the suppliers who were invited. These are just some examples. And they will be able to see the supplier participated. So if you successfully participated, CCBA will be able to see that. They will also get an email to confirm that the bid was submitted successfully. In the event that you submitted a failed bid, then CCBA will see intends to participate. And this is also how CCBA can reach out to you and say, I see you tried, but you were not successful. And then you follow the steps which I discussed with you earlier. So I trust that you found this useful, and I'm so glad that you do business with CCBA, and all the best with your Ariba supply email responses to CCBA. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.